Hello beautiful humans, welcome back to Kick Flicks. My name is Chris D and I hope you're having a fantastic day today. The Boys Season 3, Episode 2 and 3 are finally out, and there are going to be spoilers in this one because Episode 4 is coming out tomorrow on Wednesday. One thing I really do like about The Boys is that in this season, they are giving out so much information about all the characters. Not only that, they're really great with tempo. So you have Homelander, who has one sort of tempo, and then you have Butcher, you have the informative tempo, which is really great because it keeps you engaged because it's not straight monotony, it's not all the same, and everything just kind of does shift a little bit as you find out more information. Another thing that makes this show very special is that there's so much information about all these characters, these small little details that they add for each and every single one. You could talk about all of them for like an hour just with the 2 episodes in 2 and 3 that they're telling in this story right now. They're really working off this huge setup that they did in episode 1, which is really great. So you can kind of look at all 3 of these episodes and really tell that they really do go together, and it really does feel fleshed out. There is not much that I can see that they said, oh, they made this mistake, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. It's just there is this flow and everybody's there for a specific reason. And that's what I really kind of like about it. Now, starting off with some of these characters, with Edgar, the king of Vought right now, I will tell you this, he's been in the game for a very long time and he has a huge connection to Soldier Boy, who I cannot wait to see come out more into the show. And I love this character so far, with him being witty. Kind of reminds me of him being in Supernatural, but that's okay. He's playing what he's really good at, and that's what I really like. I wonder if he actually knows what happened to Soldier Boy, and if this whole setup thing was a real setup from the beginning till now. But either way, if it's not, he is doing a fantastic job with what he's doing with this whole entire cover-up. But now Edgar has a chink in his armor, and it is nothing other than his daughter, or stepdaughter, illegitimate stepdaughter at that, Nadia. So what I mean by that is that now that Huey and Butcher know who she is exactly, and she doesn't know who they are, because if she did, they would pretty much be dead right about now, because she just has to see you in sight and pop goes the weasel, you guys no longer exist. So eventually they can use that thorn against, you know, Edgar, but at the same time they can't, because they're going to need like double the leverage in some sort of way, and I can't wait to see how they're going to use this leverage. But at the same time, I wonder if Nadia's power can actually work against Homelander, because Homelander is almost impossible to beat. But I know she needs to see them, but can she make him pop just like that with his invulnerability? I don't know. From an inside out perspective, I would think so. Let me know what your opinion is down in the comments on that one right there. Moving over to Starlight though, Starlight and Homelander had this wonderful dynamic in these last 2 episodes, because these 2 episodes were really focused on Homelander and who Homelander is going to become, and the rat that he's going to bring, and the tension that he's adding to everybody else. And I love to see how everybody kind of worked around that, especially Starlight is when she became co-captain. So in episode 2, you can really see how she was making that choice and decision just because she had higher points than Homelander. But when that quickly changed, when that power really left her, and it was like, oh, that was very temporary, you saw the fear that she had. She tried to save literally everybody from Homelander and found out that it was becoming very pointless very quickly, because after the speech of him being invincible and his points are back up, everyone wants Homelander to be Homelander, and that's really bad because, well, Homelander's not a very nice person and he is losing his mind, like literally, and it's only a ticking time bomb before everything just goes sideways for Homelander, for or against him, whatever that may be. Now, speaking of Homelander, they have found every possible perverted way to show his perversions in every possible scene that they can. And on top of that, not only that, everybody is purely terrified. No one moves unless he says. No one goes anywhere unless he says. And he can make fun of anybody and no one ever speaks back. If you notice, no one actually ever talks back against Homelander. And that is because I'm pretty sure if anybody did, he would kill them right there on the spot. And I'm pretty sure Vought would just cover it up as if it never happened. And that is what makes Homelander so special and what gives him so much more power in this show. Now, another person who is temporarily just as powerful as he is Butcher. Now, Butcher is going through a whole lot. The one thing I really liked about Butcher in these last 2 episodes was the cause and effect. There had to be a cause for Butcher to have an effect on something, whether if he was going to do something positive or whether if he was going to do something negative. And it came down to the boy sending him a video, him watching it. And then when he watched it, he really did make that choice of saying, you know what, I'm doing things wrong. But when he called Huey and Huey just finally gave in and says, no, we need to do it your way, I need to give in. That was all he needed to reset himself, put his mind back on track to take the V compound. And when he did, he literally got Homelander's powers, which really does make him invincible, though it might be temporary. Well, they did say temporary, but literally almost for 2 episodes, or at least an episode and a half, he is still suffering from the cause of having taken the V compound, which I wonder what's going to happen to his body. Because if you realize, if you go back to Ryan, when they met right outside the bathroom, he actually could smell Butcher's blood, which makes me wonder if Homelander could also smell anyone else's blood, which means, can he smell some kind of fear or what's in their body? And if he can, that means Homelander also knew that A-Train was also on a V compound the whole entire time, but just didn't say anything because he always wanted that leverage. And another thing that Butcher is really good about is pressing people's buttons. Like, he knows that he really did need mother's milk. He needed them really, really bad. So he pushed the most sensitive subject onto him, because once he knows that OCD takes over and mother's milk just kind of dives into this whole entire world, which you saw right after when Butcher left, he pulled out. You saw this physical transformation of his anger, his rage coming out just to destroy this fire alarm. And he started to lose control. Like, he has no control over his own body. And eventually it had to lead to him going back and getting permission from his ex-wife to say, yeah, it's okay to go back and settle what you need to settle so you can get better. And now that he's back in the game, I can't wait to see what happens. Moving on to Frenchie and Kimiko, I love the way they work together, the way they act and what they want. Kimiko wants to have an idea what it feels like to be a kid because she never had a really childhood. Frenchie's stuck in this position from episode 3 to where, you know, his old friend Cherry messed up and pretty much stole from a girl named Nina, and there is just so much happening there just with him. And I'm really happy that Frenchie is getting a part of this story, because he, in a way, personally for me, kind of felt like a little dragged out and was just there, just listening to orders. The same with Kimiko. But they really did start to show Kimiko's softer side and then Frenchie's kind of fidgety side, to where it's like the, oh shit, what am I going to do now? Do I side with you? Do I stick with Butcher? He does want to stick with Butcher, which is a really good thing. And the funniest part is when Butcher said, no, I need you to set up a meeting with little Nina. And then Frenchie's like, I really don't want to, but I guess if you're the boss, I have to. I wonder what's going to happen to Frenchie at this point in time. Is he going to be stuck between 2 worlds, and is he going to have to make this choice? And if he does make the choice, what are the consequences of these choices that he's about to make? Ooh, I cannot wait, because that is like theory sanity right there. Let me know what you think might happen or who he might end up siding with. I believe it's going to end up being Butcher in the long run, just because why wouldn't he? Butcher's, I think, been there for a very long time and kind of gives him that freedom to be who Frenchie wants to be. Now, the one surprise for me in episode 3 was the Deep. I am so surprised that the Deep is coming back. And I think it was a very smart strategic move that Homelander did, only for the simple fact is, you're only allowing in 1 new person versus 2 people who would technically be on Starlight's side. So you only have 1 person on Starlight's side, and then you have the Deep, who will literally listen to anything Homelander will say, because he's just literally petrified of him. But at the same time, he's also happy to be back on the 7, mainly because his wife really told him so, which I find very hilarious. And I wonder how much real love that they have between each other. I wonder if that's going to go well. Now, one person I purposely did skip was Huey. Huey is a very interesting character, only because he's in a position to where he really, really wants to do right, but has no choice but to become a mini Butcher. And then to see him take the risks that he's taking right now to go investigate on his own, even though he's out in the public eye, he's really trying his best to make things right, and he's going to play dirty. And it's very kind of refreshing to see this side of him, to want to play dirty, because he doesn't really want to do it, but he has to because he's tired of all the games, and at the same time dealing with a love affair with Starlight and the jealousy with Supersonic. And it's just great to see them argue, and just I love this kind of dynamic and character, because it's like a sub story in a way, or a subplot that they touch on just to lighten the mood, or to make you laugh, or to giggle in some sort of way. We're gonna move on to my two most favorite parts out of these episodes, and that is, one, I finally get to know who Black Noir is. Not only that, but we get to see his personality, his character, and why he is the way he is, and he doesn't talk. I was like, what? And on top of that, it does show that he has a limit to his invincibility, but no wonder why he's such a good assassin. Now, my big question I want to know now is, what did they do to his body to make him so invincible compared to before? Is his bodysuit really that impenetrable in a way that it can take all this shrapnel and not like tear his body apart? I mean, how does he heal from wounds? I mean, it's just insane about what happened to him, how he became who he is compared to who he was. And the funny part is, Vought knows all about it, and they didn't say anything up until season 3. Oh man, I really do love that. And then my second favorite part is the Deep, when he had to eat his best friend, the octopus. And not only that, but they spent so long on that shot, him eating this octopus and it moving through his mouth, and it was just very weird. And then the ink spill, I mean, it was just kind of like, oh my goodness, why? But it was because they are delivering a lesson, is that Homelander can do anything he wants and make anyone do what he wants them to do, no matter how they feel about it. And that is a huge message to deliver, because Homelander is literally manipulating everybody else around him. But if you notice one thing, he is really leaving Butcher alone, because after they had that conversation, he has nothing to really fear from Butcher, only because probably in his mind, that is his least priority. So that's what I really liked about all these episodes. I don't know if I missed anybody, but if you think I did, or if you think I missed something down important, please let me know down in the comments. And as usual, if you like what I'm doing, subscribe, hit that like button, because it does help me out with that YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to click the bell notification for every time I post. You won't miss a thing. And most importantly, don't forget to kick up and not down. And I will see you the next time I post. Peace.